It's really amazing me to think about this. Just a couple of weeks ago, it felt like we were wearing t-shirts and complaining about the heat. And now it's we're having 30-degree days, 40-degree days, and really cold nights. And it looks beautiful, and I like this time of the year too, deer hunting and all those other things. But we do run into problems with starting our equipment sometimes, and that brings us to today's sponsor, Avapow Automotive Jump Starters. We'll be talking about this more later on in the video. Hey, welcome back to the channel. I am Tony, and I'm excited. This is Tony's Tractor Adventure. Forgot that part, but anyway, this is a cold December day. I think last night's low was somewhere around 19, 20 degrees. Got a little snow yesterday, but back to what's at hand here. I have finally got something that I have been wanting to get for a long time. These are not cheap. However, if you want to do some real blade work, you got to get a heavy duty one. If you guys remember, about 3 years ago, we built the road, this gravel road. I'll put a little video in there. Got a root. And I went and bought a box store grader blade. And within, I don't know, a half hour, hour of using it, I bent the blade. It didn't have these gussets. Now this is an IronCraft 4506, 6 foot wide, and it's super heavy built. So this is not a anything like your box store grader blades. Not only does it have this pin you can pull here, and you can rotate it as such. Put that pin in, but we also have this pin. So if we're going to dig down on this side, we can just rotate this over. And I don't have it high enough. Let me crank it up and raise it up a little bit higher. So this is IronCraft's heavy duty blade. Again, like I said, this is not cheap, but you see like this nut on top of here, how big this is. This is probably 3.5-inch nut. That the main pin is probably almost 1 3/4 or 2 inches. It's a giant pin. And you have all these different settings on it. The front blade is replaceable. It also has 2 sides, so once you wear this side out, you can rotate it over. But these are just using standard grader blades. See all the how thick the metal is. I mean, this right here is, I'd say 5/8, maybe bigger than 5/8. It might be 3/4. It's pretty thick. That's really thick metal. These big gussets down the side right here. Why these are so important is a lot of companies will just use the grader blade and rely on that grader blade to take all of the pressure that's going to be out here, like if you're digging a ditch with this. And what IronCraft does is put this big giant gusset in the back, and that transfers any pressure from out here to the center. And that's why this is going to hold up a lot more. So another feature that it has is it has this ratcheting system here. And what we can do is move this dude off side. So we can move it off to the, you see I'm going over to the right side of the tractor right now. So if you want to pull dishes while kind of being on the pavement, you can do that. So it'll let the blade go further off to one side of your tractor. And that's what we're going to do just a little bit, so I don't have to be in the ditch doing this. Everything's greasable. Now, another thing you can do here, this is absolutely, you can put a cylinder here and run it up to your rear remotes, and you can move it back and forth. What I did is I have my hydraulic top link here on the top, and at some point I may put a cylinder here, and then I can use it on my rear remote. This is a lot of blade. This is, if memory serves, this is about 500 pounds, almost 500 pounds of blade. I'm pretty sure I can use this as a T25 for light duty stuff, but to really get the maximum benefit out of this, you're gonna need like a 40 horsepower tractor, and that's what this 474 is going to do great. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and lock this down right here. You want to lock this up where it's not in the way. All right, let's walk you over here and I'll show you what we're going to do. So this ditch right here goes all the way down, and up on top of that hill there was a lot of dirt in the way. And what has happened is the dirt has filled up, and whenever we get a flash flood, it would run over into the garden and run through the garden and wash the topsoil away. Here on this side, this has a, I'm not really sure what happened here. It's like somebody went through here with like a backhoe, and they dug a real deep centerpiece, but it's really, you can get the lawnmower hung up on this. So what we're going to do is go ahead and smooth this out to a better, it'll be easier to do with the lawnmower, and then we'll come back and throw some rye seed on it for the winter, and then next year we'll throw some grass seed on it. But that's where we're going to start. And never used this blade before. I've used blades like it before, but I've always wanted a heavy blade, and I'm excited to have that, because like when we're doing all these roads and pulling ditches and stuff, this is going to make a big deal. It's a big difference. So it's been a long time since I've used a grater blade like this, especially on something that's I got to be pretty precise if I want this to look good. So it's kind of like planting rows of corn or whatever. You got to look way down, get your tractor aimed, got to get your blade set right, and then just go. If the fact that this is brand new for me, probably gonna make some mistakes here. Once I get a feel for it, we'll be all right. I think it'll be okay. But if you are looking backwards all the time, you're going to be constantly doing this, and it's going to really look ugly. So you can make a really nice cut, and it'll look really good and smooth, or it'll look like a snake went up down through there. So what I'm going to do is just try to get the blade right and then just go. So if you want to look back to see how the blade's doing, you have to come to a complete stop, not losing your aim, and then you can look back and kind of see how it looks. I mean, it's probably going to take a couple runs up and down, but I think it's going to do really good. It's definitely not bending, I'll say that. I can feel it pulling the back of the tractor around. This tractor, the way it sets right here, with loaded rear tires and the bucket on the loader, we're looking at about 5,000 pounds the way it sits right here, pretty close to 5,000 pounds. And then it's doing a good job. It really is. I'm rusty, but I'm excited. This thing's gonna be awesome, because we got all these gravel roads and trails to build through here, and we got a long driveway to build. And we want to pull ditches and make the water drain the way we want to. I'm excited about this. Blue light comes on. We'll take it over. Green light comes on. I'm gonna put this right here. Green's back on. And now we'll see if it starts. I'm really impressed with this jump starter, and we want to do a good test. You know, this battery was completely dead. I mean, it has no spark in it whatsoever. So it started completely from a dead battery, and that's pretty impressive. The Avapow unit can provide 6,000 amps of starting power. It's pretty amazing for a unit so small. And you've seen that big 350 engine just crank right over. The unit can be charged with a standard USB-C cord. In addition to being able to jump a vehicle off, it also is a backup power source for USB-C applications like charging your phone. It also has a flashlight built in. It comes with this nice carrying case that you can put in the back of your vehicle. Just keep it charged up and it's ready to go. I can't tell you how many times that I could use this, and I think most everybody on a farm could use this as well. It's impressed me to this point. Link in the description below. Watching the video here, I can see that my blade is pitched too far forward and it's not cutting as good as it could have. Later on in the video, I did figure it out from the seat of the tractor. It's a lot easier to see it when you're watching the video. I don't think the video does it justice, but that's pretty steep right there. At this point, we're getting the second cut going both ways, and the depth of the ditch is looking pretty good. As you can see, when I pass here, I leveled out my blade. It's still at an angle, but it's not dipped down to the left side of the tractor as it passes by. It's flat to the tractor. So now what I'm trying to do is kind of just smooth out that edges. And this is going to take several passes, but in the end, I think it's worth waiting to see what comes of it because it looks really good. So I want to talk about what I'm doing real quick. So I went through and made 2 passes with it tilted very steep, cutting me a really pretty deep ditch. And then I leveled the blade out, but I still kept it tilted. So it's taking all of this material and pushing it off the side. And it's kind of making me, it's making it a little smoother. If I do this a couple more times, we'll plant this with ryegrass. And then next year it should be easier for me to mow this with the mower versus where before we had these big giant, gullies where I literally got stuck a couple times. So that's what I'm doing. However, it's really not the best time of year to do this because as you can see right here, it's kind of sticking up a little bit. It's getting a little sticky. It's still a little bit wet, but I think we're going to be okay. I may go ahead and turn the blade a little bit more so when it's really wet, you can turn your blade a little bit more pronounced, and it'll cause it to throw material a little wetter material a little further. hard to say that. So anyway, we'll do it real quick and see what's happened. But overall, I'm happy so far. Yeah, I think that's going to cause it to throw the wet dirt off a little bit more. I think I'm tracking a little bit too far this way. So I'm going to go ahead and take the doohickey here. That's the official term, is the doohickey. And see if we can, we're going to move the blade over to the other side of the tractor a little bit. That's going to line this cutting edge up with the rear tire of the tractor, so I think that'll work. So having a hydraulic top link for this is awesome, because otherwise, when you put the blade down, it's got a curve, and you want that curve to meet the ground at the right angle. Otherwise, it will want to float or dig too deep or just skim across the top. So once you get it down on the ground, if you got a hydraulic top link, you can just move the hydraulic top link in and out and find that sweet spot where the blade is actually still shaving but not gouging. And like I said, if you go too far down, it's just going to basically drag. And there's a time and place for that when you want to do finish work and you just want to drag the dirt off. That's you don't want it to bite anymore. You want it to just smooth. So there's a time and place for that. But you can get it too far to the front, or tilt it backwards, and then it won't do a good job. So right in here is a good point, and you'll just have to figure it out. You'll see how the dirt flows. This is not a great time to do this because the the grasses are wet, the dirt's still pretty wet, but it's the only time we had to do it. I'm going to make one more pass, and I think we're going to be good with this. I may come back with a box blade and the little T25 and do some fine tuning, but I could probably do all that with this tractor, but I didn't realize I'm almost out of diesel. So we got to go get some diesel for the big tractor. So here we go. I'm going to do this right here because I want the water to still come around. And that was really the whole purpose of this. Is the water was just kind of coming down here and going wherever it wanted to. So now it's going to come out and have an actual place to go down. It's not going on our neighbor's property. It's going down what used to be a natural drain. So I think that's going to be a lot better. And this is going to be smoothed out really well, and we can still mow over it. But I'm going to go back up to the top and start going down there. And we'll make this our last pass today, because otherwise I'm going to run out of diesel. So we let it dry off a couple of days, and what I did is I put the blade across straight and I tilted it forward just a little bit. What I'm trying to do now is just kind of smooth out and round over these sides of the ditch banks. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want the mower to be able to mow this with ease. You can see the dust kicking up from where the wind is blowing here. It had It's not really warm, but the wind has blown so much it dried this out, and we were having 30-mile-plus wind gusts right here. I'm not sure if I said this earlier in the video, but this is where we come back a couple of days later. So this is one of the reasons that I'm loving this blade already, because not one time did I worry about hanging a root and bending this thing, or it's just overbuilt for this tractor. Pretty much no way this tractor could probably bend it. You also could take this and turn it all the way around. I don't think I showed that, but this blade can turn all the way around, and that'll allow you to push dirt back. And that's awesome if like you're doing backfilling, like somebody's dumping dirt, and then you can kind of use it like a backwards dozer. But in our case, we don't, that was really a big deal back in the day when people didn't have loaders, but now pretty much every tractor has loaders. So, but you still can do that. You still can turn this blade around and push, and you can put a lot more force on this than you can your loader. So just keep that in mind too. But again, this is the IronCraft 4506. Like I said, these things are not cheap, but this is a lifetime purchase. You can just keep replacing the cutter as it wears out. You got two sides of that cutter, so you get two cuts on it, or two wears, and then you buy a new cutter and put on it, and this thing will just keep on going and keep on going. You can also buy some rubber coated cutters that goes on the bottom, so you can pull down the blacktop road and push snow off without damaging. I think it's like not rubber, but it's like a hard plastic bottom that you can push snow off and it not damage the blacktop. Those other things you can do with this as well. But for us, it's going to be basically keeping our trails up, digging drainage ditches. Like I just pulled this little ditch here and nothing flat, and now the water has somewhere to come down that hill. It's going to follow this right into that natural drain off area there, and it's not going to keep going through our gate and washing our road out down there. So listen, guys, if you got any questions about this, leave it in the comment section. I appreciate you watching, and yeah, this is awesome. One of these, I wanted a heavy duty one for years, and this is next level, and I just keep talking about it. I'm so excited. God bless.